On the journey of inspiration, so many young women stand up as glimmers and role models for young ones. And today I'm going to be hosting a very amazing woman. Welcome to Inspire My Sister podcast. My name is Sarah Atoj, and I am your official host. My guest today is a very interesting young woman, from her looks to her mentality and the way she carries herself. And I'm really glad and honored to have her on today's episode of the podcast. Margaret, welcome to Inspire My Sister.
Thank you, Sarah.
I always say this, and I think it's going to be a quote by
Mm,
Sarah.
mm,
Nobody introduces anybody better than themselves. It
mm.
gives people the opportunity to say the best versions of things they would love to say about themselves. If
Yeah.
somebody out there wants to know Margaret, not at Sarah's point of view,
Yes.
but at what you believe people should know you for, who
Mm.
is Margaret?
Okay, Margaret Chisache is a Ugandan. She's a sales and marketing manager. She's an ex-beauty queen. I was Miss International Uganda. She's a commercial model. She does modeling. She's a child of God, and she's a
Beautiful.
sister.
Amazing. Welcome to Inspire.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. September 10th, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, is Suicide Prevention Month.
Yes.
September generally is labeled as
Mm.
Suicide Prevention Month,
Yes.
mental health awareness, and such.
Yes.
And you said you're a professional counselor.
Yes, I am.
Absolutely wonderful. I'm going to polish around the conversation basing
Mm.
on counseling
Mm.
and relating it to mental health.
Yes.
As we start the conversation, Margaret, mental health is a very underrated topic in our community. If somebody said they're struggling with their mental health,
Mm.
they'll probably not believe, our community will not believe. And this is not just in South Sudan or
Mm.
East Africa, but it's
Mm.
Africa at large. And who knows,
Mm.
even on the bigger aspect of the map.
Yes.
And sometimes people will only believe that you have actually a mental problem when you
Mm.
go on the street without your
Mm.
clothes.
Mm.
But I do believe that so many people wear suits, are sitting in their offices,
Yeah.
have children, and are living a normal life, but
Mm.
are struggling with their mental health.
Yes.
Now, regarding that
Mm.
and opening up this conversation,
Mm.
what would you say mental health
Is.
is?
Okay. Well, mental health is the general well-being of someone, which would include their emotions, their even physical. So it's just the general well-being. And I think most people mistake mental illness for mental health, because now mental illness is when there's a challenge or there's something negative going on in your mental health. Yeah.
An intense problem, you mean?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank-
Okay, so depression being it affects the mood of the person, and it causes extreme sadness to the person. Basically, depression is characterized with extreme
Sadness?
extreme sadness. Um, yeah, that's what depression is characterized with. And then anxiety comes with panic.
Mm.
It's usually
Fear.
yes, it comes with fear, it comes with panic. That's what characterizes anxiety, and that's on a surface level. Definitely I wouldn't sit here and diagnose someone, so but I would just give a few pointers. But because usually these are things that have to be diagnosed by either a psychologist or a psychiatric. However, some of the pointers of depression is, you've seen people that look like they don't have any interest in life. They're extremely demotivated. They don't want to get out of bed. They may get dirty. They will neglect their
Hygiene.
general hygiene. They will they'll basically just stop caring about anything that's happening around them, and that shows you that this person is going through something. And then eventually they will have a low mood. They may, because now there's other like mood issues, which is maybe bipolar. And now that's why I can't say that I will not sit and diagnose someone. However, the pointers are they'll just totally neglect themselves. And now anxiety is when someone is panicking. This person will have, there will be cases when this person will just start panicking out of the blue without even, I mean, for you, you will feel like this. There is no cause. Why should they be panicking?
Panicking
But
like this.
them, they will just be feeling that. So I think that's basically some of the few things that will show you that this person is going through something.
Perfect. So, when we experience depression and anxiety,
Yes.
where is the battle? Where
Mm.
is the war field? Where
Mm.
is all this happening from? Like,
Mm.
is it a verbal form, like I say something to you
Yeah.
and then immediately you have to experience depression?
Mm.
Does something bad have to happen around you and then you
Mm.
start experiencing anxiety? Or
Mm.
do you have to be afraid of somebody
Mm.
for you to experience anxiety? Like, where is the battlefield where depression and anxiety
Okay,
occurs?
most of these things are caused by, they have different causes, but by far, I think some of the major causes right now as we speak are PTSD.
Mm.
People are fighting different post-traumatic events. I mean, people had challenges. Some people had challenges in their childhood. Others had different cases. And then, like depression, especially the, yeah, like depression, you can actually get it from your parents, like genetically. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
This is
It's
interesting to
yeah, it
know.
can be deposited in your genes, and then you will experience it. Then genes, also stressors. The world has a lot of things that are, affecting us.
Mm.
So poverty can be one of the causes. And usually these things come in bits. There is
Mm.
no day that nobody will just, I mean, I've seen around people say, "Oh, I think I'm depressed." No, it doesn't come once. It will come in bits. So by the time you get diagnosed, it has stayed.
Mm.
This has been a long battle that you've had. Yeah, so I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yes, you are. Yes,
I
you
don't know
are.
if I'm making sense. Yeah,
Yes, you are.
yeah. So these are things, they don't come once. They will happen over time.
Mm.
And then, but where is the battle? The battle is in your head. These are cognitive issues.
Mm.
They happen in your head. The battle is always in your head. And that's why if you try explaining to someone, they will not understand
Mm.
unless people have been educated. And that's why I truly think we need to push for mental health to be included in, even in the primary health care. Like there's
Absolutely.
no reason why I should go to the doctor, the GP, and not get to talk to a clinical psychologist or something.
Mm.
Because if I go for my blood check and I'm doing a general checkup, it's not a general checkup if I've not had my mental health checked.
Absolutely true.
That's it. Yeah.
This is very powerful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Most of the times we actually are scared
Yes.
of talking about depression, most especially amongst our peers, because we're scared of how they will look at us, how they will judge us. And we're also scared of our family, our siblings, our parents. These
Yeah.
are facts. And that is why we're putting these things on the table
Yes.
for us to be able to address them.
Mm.
Speaking on a personal level,
Mhm.
I have experienced depression.
Yes.
I have experienced anxiety of recent.
Mm.
And before experiencing them firsthand, I promise you, we would casually say, "Oh my God, I'm depressed."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it sounded so casual that a small sadness felt like depression.
Yeah.
But depression feels like a stone weighing you down,
Yes. It does.
holding all your emotions and thrown in a pit,
Yeah.
and you can't be able to pull it up easily.
Mm.
It feels like when you get into bed, you're sinking inside the bed, like your body does not want to get up.
Yes.
It feels like your mind is not responsive fast enough to positive things.
Yes.
It's always negative things. I'm
Yes.
not enough. And you said it's a long term build up of
Yes.
things.
Yes.
For instance, from childhood, like childhood trauma, for
Mhm.
children who are raised in families where, and this happens so much in our African community. And I want to say this because we want to change the narrative.
Yes.
We want to break the
Absolutely.
cycle. We want to
Yeah.
break the generational curses.
Mm.
African society raises children in ways that it might not be intentional for them to harm, but it's a normalized pattern of carried on abuse.
Mm.
Like when a child probably makes a mistake, in which human beings are prone to making mistakes,
Yeah.
and children are prone to making mistakes,
Mm.
your family will call you a failure
Yes.
every single day.
Yes.
You did this in 1995, you're a failure.
Yeah.
And it looks casual, it looks normal. And sometimes our parents will say, "I say this so you can stand up and not be a failure.
Yes.
But this is something that is being filled inside of us. We begin to believe that we are failures.
Yes.
And sometimes you'll be doing things and you're not appreciated enough in your home, in your family. And you lose the motive. You lack self-confidence.
Yeah.
Children are raised in an environment where every single mistake you have to be beaten up for it.
Yes.
You get, I'm not saying it's bad for you to discipline your child, but what is the mode of discipline that actually helps your child to constructively grow and develop? Like, how can you help your child to understand that this is a mistake that I have made, I need to correct, and I need to move forward, other than every single day waking up, you're a stupid child, nothing good will come out of you, you will never have a bright future, you have failed and you'll always be a failure, you are this and you are that. So some of these things are actually carried back from our home. And I don't even blame our parents, because they carried it from their parents, and their parents from their parents' parents. So this becomes like a generational cycle. And the reason why I love to have this conversation, and I will be holding more conversations, I trust you, on this podcast and other platforms, is because we need to break the cycle.
Yes.
We are not tagging people as bad. We are not pointing fingers to say this person is a bad parent, but there are practices and norms that are harmful, that lead to depression. So sometimes an adult can be an adult, but they're experiencing depression because of things they experienced in their childhood
children, yes,
as a child, that helped them, that made them lose confidence and esteem and things like that. So do you have a personal experience you might share, or an experience from somebody you might share, or something that you would say around that?
Okay, well, first of all, I would like to, I don't know, whatever you said is very right. And I think hurt people hurt. And I would say most of our parents unknowingly
Yes.
transfer anger to their children without knowing, because like you said, maybe this is how they grew up, maybe these are things they've seen growing up, or maybe because they've been battered, maybe poverty, maybe they're going through something and then they don't know how to control themselves. So do I have a story to share? Maybe some other time. However, I think one of the things we need to do right now, because we're changing the narrative, is it starts with us. We have to be the better parents, and maybe we have to be the better parents, and we have to spread it more out there, so that other people learn that there are better ways of disciplining your child. You don't have to beat your child. You don't have to break them down because you want to build them. I mean, I've seen, especially men, especially boys, I've seen parents beating boys because a man is supposed to be a man. But that's not the way you discipline a child. I mean, I think there are better ways now, and because we're having such conversations, and we've been privileged to know this, to see how it has affected the children, to see how it has affected how children that were raised that way, how they've turned out. I mean, we meet people that have issues that they didn't bring to that they didn't bring to themselves, but issues that were passed on by their parents, people that were supposed to nurture them, people that were supposed to protect them. So yes, we're not trying to, put all the blame on our parents, because maybe they also didn't know better, but we're trying to now teach them. We are trying to teach the next generation that there are better ways that we can parent. There are better ways. I mean, as a parent, it's your duty to raise that child in a loving home. It's your duty. If you don't know, learn. Learn from other people. I've been privileged to see people that grow up in very loving homes, and you will be surprised by how they interact with their parents, and it's beautiful. I mean, as a parent, don't you want that later on when you're in your 60s, 50s? Don't you want to have a good relationship with your parents? So I think as parents, because we are also becoming parents, we need to do better. Also, to answer one of the questions you said, the beauty about mental health challenges is most of them are reversible. Most of them are treatable. So we
Absolutely.
shouldn't be scared to go to a psychologist. We shouldn't be scared to go to a psychiatric, because all mental health illnesses are reversible. It's just a matter of knowing what to do. Because, Sarah, most of the things that affect us are things that most of something will affect you because you don't know.
Absolutely true.
But when you have the knowledge, you know how to handle a situation. Most people have developed certain mental health illnesses or challenges because of their personalities. I mean, most people don't even know their personalities. When you know your personality, you know how to handle stresses.
Psychological
You know
traits.
how to, yeah, because if I know that I'm a melancholic, I will know how to handle myself. I will know when I'm overthinking, so I will work on it. If I'm a choleric, I will know how to handle myself. So I think we should start by, encouraging people to just go to, just go to a counselor, have one therapy. Let this, talk to them, because actually what counselors do, they don't talk to you. They
Mm.
let you talk, tell them,
Mm.
and they listen. And then both of you find solutions. So the beauty about mental health, I think people shouldn't be scared, because these are all treatable issues. Most of them are reversible. You can live a healthy, perfect life after having a mental health, post mental health illness. So
Mm.
we shouldn't be scared. And even the ones that are not treatable, they're manageable. And then the beauty is, if we handle it before it gets to the tertiary,
Yeah.
tertiary level, I mean, you don't even have to stress. And then maybe I'll offer a few solutions.
Yes. That was
Um,
my next question, probably.
oh, okay. So because it wouldn't make sense if I just tell people, okay, you'll have depression, you'll have anxiety, and not give a few solutions. First of all, I think, Sarah, when you're born, just being born is a ticket to being hurt.
Mm.
So you should always know that challenges are going to always come, but how you handle them. The poison usually kills you after it's inside you,
Yeah.
right? If I'm just looking at poison, just, it's nothing.
Mm.
But once it gets to my system, and then if it gets to my system and I go to the hospital and it's pulled out, I'll be okay. If I keep it in my system, that's what kills.
Absolutely
So
true.
yes, you were hurt. Yes, something happened. Once you find out that this is what has been affecting you, you have to work on letting go. Like all therapies, all sessions you're going to go to, they will teach you to let go. Some traumas are maybe traumas that are going to be with us for the longest,
Mm.
but it takes a decision to just let go. So one of the solutions is just letting go. And then forgiving.
Mm.
You have to learn to forgive the unforgivable,
Mm.
because it's not for the other person, it's for you. Then also, hope, having hope. We talked about one of the causes
Yeah.
of suicide as being hopeless. If you have hope, you basically just have to keep putting it in yourself that it gets better.
It gets better.
As
There's a sunrise
Christians,
after dusk. Yeah.
yeah, as Christians, we have faith. What's faith? Faith is believing in the unseen, right?
Mm.
So you have to just have hope that it gets better, because I can assure you it actually gets better.
Mm. Absolutely.
It actually gets better. And I will not end without telling you to go to for a checkup. Just go have that conversation. Just have one therapy set. Sorry, just have one therapy session. Just have that. And then also, I think, as Christians, not as Christians, as Africans, let me not general, because I'm sure this video is going to be watched by other
A lot of
races.
people.
So
Yeah.
let me not just say one particular race. But as human beings, because all of us have that higher power that we subscribe to, I think also getting closer to your God, your Allah, or your Buddha, or how you call him,
Term
or
it. Yeah.
how you term it, it's also very helpful. Yes.
Wonderful. Now we've gotten to know the traits, depression,
Yeah.
anxiety, the things that we could do in order to to get better or know our statuses as people who are battling mental health.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to bring this back into the sisterhood journey,
Yes.
because as sisters, we ought to look out for each other.
Yes.
One, you spoke about the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't know these things and we need to know what we're going through. But how are we going to know what we're going through if we're not able to share with one another? You know, as sisters outside here, or some of the things that affect people for them to commit suicide is not being able to find hope in somebody,
Yes.
in something, you know? So if I say that, Margaret, you are my best friend today,
Yes.
and I'm very close to you, but the next day I hanged myself, Margaret, you're going to ask yourself, how come Sarah never found a glimmer of hope to tell me what she was going through?
Yeah.
So sometimes people don't really speak up.
Yes.
We can only see from their behaviors that there's a challenge. There is something this person is fighting.
Yes.
And sometimes it might be even too late to actually figure it out. They could be
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
But I want us to talk about sisterhood as well. If we see that a person is struggling with their mental health, not even sisterhood, as families, as friends, as colleagues, if a person is struggling with their mental health, how do we how do we advocate, or how do we volunteer in order to step in this person's life and help them? Is it something that we should all be paid for? Does it have to take only a therapist?
Yeah.
Or the community needs an awareness that we need to step up for each other? What would you say regarding that?
Okay, well, I think one of the counseling, I mean, in most cases, the people that will need therapists are usually people that are not surrounded by people they can open up to. Because what does a counselor offer, or what does a therapist or a psychologist offer, is confidentiality. You don't want to tell your business and then find it all over the place. However, I encourage everyone to have people around them that they trust. I mean, you cannot say that all people are bad, really. Maybe it's you. You understand? So surround yourself with people that you know you can talk to. Now, us as sisters, or us as friends, as family, it's usually a bit hard to talk to someone. It's usually a bit hard to go to someone and be like, hi, Sarah, I think you're depressed. You know, you may not go about it like that. However, let's also avail ourselves to people. Let's open ourselves to people. I can assure you it's not always hard to tell when someone is going through something.
Yeah,
It's not hard.
it's not.
If you know that your friend or family is going through something, avail yourself to them. Take them out or sit with them. They will open up. They will crack. Because sometime I told you a story of someone that wanted to commit suicide, and they posted about it, and all it took me is to avail myself, tell him that I can actually talk to you. And right now he's doing well. We thank God he didn't commit suicide. And he has actually moved on to have a better life. So let's avail ourselves. Let's be a safe space to people. And when someone tells you something, please,
Keep
even
it.
when you break up, or even when you're not in good terms, please don't say it out, because this is something that someone confided, trusted you enough to confide in you. And then lastly, I'll address the individual. I'll address us as human beings. Sarah, you're actually going to, the earlier you realize that it's you, that you got your back, the earlier you will stop relying on people. Because I mean, the Bible says the Bible says the human heart is evil. So sometime you really have to have your back. Educate yourself. Learn. Most of the things that we talk about are not even things we went to school to study. No, these are things we've educated ourselves. If you think you have something, educate yourself. Go to the internet. We all have phones at the moment. Go to the internet. Learn about it. And because I'm talking about people that can't afford therapy, because I mean it's usually a bit expensive. Educate yourself and now empower yourself, and arm yourself with solutions, a few steps that you can always take whenever maybe episodes come. And then lastly, of course, I will tell the government or call upon people in power, people in the Ministry of Health, I mean, different organizations. There is the Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes.
When the Sustainable Development Goals were, what's the name?
Launch.
were launched, we were surprised that mental health was not there. Yet, mental health literally is the only thing that they would surround to make to make sure everything, make sure all these 30 sustainable development goals happen. So if we don't take this as a serious point, okay, is that as a serious point, we're going to lose lose a bigger portion of the generation.
Absolutely.
And
true.
when you look at especially the youth right now, because maybe sometimes people have failed to handle themselves, they will resort to using drugs. That's why we see the use of drugs in this generation.
It's very high.
It's very high.
Mm.
And I mean, you understand what I mean? So I would say I'll call upon the government and the WHOs, all the
stakeholders.
Yeah, all the stakeholders to make sure they take this as a serious.
Margaret, just like you have said, mental health is not a conversation we would exhaust in probably just a 30 minutes podcast.
Absolutely.
It takes longer conversations and consistent conversations, because this is a generational kind of thing that we need to change right now. So it takes a community, like you said, all stakeholders.
Yes.
Every single person is responsible and is accountable for the conversations around mental health. Now, on the journey of changing the narrative, on the journey of creating awareness, on the journey of suicide prevention, and empowering the generation mentally, I think we will dedicate ourselves in our time, because we need to break the cycle and we need to create the difference. As we wrap up, Margaret, to everybody that is watching this right now, I'm absolutely sure that somebody somewhere is feeling a little bit hopeless, or even much hopeless. We cannot tell the degrees at which people feel things. Somebody might be experiencing anxiety. Somebody might be feeling lonely or unloved or alone. What would you tell a person that is watching this episode right now, just as we conclude? But I feel like we should definitely have more of these conversations.
We're definitely going to have more of these conversations. I would definitely come whenever I'm invited, and thanks for this opportunity. Well, I would, if someone is going through an episode or you feel like you're not okay, please talk to someone. If you can afford it, go to therapy. I promise you, you will feel better. And if my social media is Chisache Margaret, or Margaret
Wonderful.
Chisache. You can look me up, and I'll not charge you. Just mention Oxygen TV. Yes, we can. I promise you, it gets better. Just hold on there. It gets better. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Margaret.
Welcome.
This has been a very, very wonderful conversation around mental health, suicide prevention, and I feel like we cannot exhaust this right now, because we have a lot of things to talk about regarding that, childhood trauma, and so many things to unravel. But as we wrap up this conversation, we want to say thank you so much for being part of changing the narrative and breaking the generational trauma and curses and creating a better, safer mental health. Follow Oxygen TV on all social media platforms. That is where Inspire My Sister is going to be dropping all its episodes, on YouTube and on Facebook. Don't forget to follow Inspire My Sister podcast on Instagram and TikTok, and we'll be sharing so much information regarding the podcast, events, and activities that we'll be running under this project. With this, I'd love to say thank you. Have a wonderful time. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
This is Oxygen.